Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and I just want to post some impressions of mine since I had my time with the network test for Dead or Alive 6. First, before anything else, I'll just say apologies for the fairly low level of play in the footage there. Even though I am a longtime Dead or Alive fan, none of the characters I normally play are in this beta, so I kind of had to, for the most part, mash and figure my way out through stuff here. The characters I usually play are Leon, who won't be in DOA 6 sadly, Bass, and Tina, so I don't play the ninjas or nothing like that. Anyways, so first up here, I do want to mention how does the game feel? And I gotta say, hey, game feels pretty good. It might be a little slower than Dead or Alive 5. I'm not really sure. I haven't played Dead or Alive 5 in a while, so maybe that's just confirmation bias. I'm not quite sure. But overall, everything feels satisfying. The game still looks super slick. The game plays well. Everything feels nice. Everything feels satisfying from both just the actual hits of the moves, the animations of the moves, that feeling when you get a nice juicy grab on someone mashing counter and you take half their life. Oh, that's such a good feeling. I love that. So overall, the basic feel of the game, I gotta say, is pretty dang good. So to speak on some of the new stuff here in Dead or Alive 6, we got some new systems here. We have the Fatal Rush, which I guess you can call the auto combo system, although there's a bit more to it than that. We have the Break Blow and Break Hold. I think that's the name. It's basically tied to the super bar. And we have proper steps. As in, it's a command now. Dead or Alive has always been traditionally a 3-button game, like Virtua Fighter, Punch, Kick, Block, although they call it Hold, but it's Block. So now there's the S button. So if you just jam on the S button, you'll get the Fatal Rush, the auto combo. And if you hit up or down an S, it'll be a step, like an evasive step, just like, a normal 3D fighter. Although it's specifically designed in mind to evade moves versus just holding up or down. So that said, so Fatal Rush, you mash it all the way, and then you get your big old combo. And if you have bar, you'll super at the end of it. That's all well and good. A couple things to note here. So the Fatal Rush puts people in what is called a Fatal Stun state, which is a new thing in Dead or Alive. So there's always been stuns where you can't hold out of, like Limbo Stun, Sit Down Stun, all that kind of stuff. From what I can gather, it's all been just kind of homogenized into Fatal Stun. So if you're in a Fatal Stun, you cannot counter out any way whatsoever. Unless you use a Break Hold, which we'll talk about a bit. So if you mash auto combo, basically they aren't getting out of the combo. One thing I did notice about the auto combo, if you only do 1 or 2 hits, and I'm not sure how to recreate it, forgive me for being a little ignorant about certain aspects of the game, but you seem to be able to put people into a back turn state, and then you get a regular combo anyways, so there is some value into it, both being an unholdable move if you get the combo off, and you can just kind of use it to get bigger combos anyways. Now onto the bar stuff, the break holds and break blows. So DOA, until this game, has never had a meter system, although I guess that's just how every fighter is going. Like, Soul Calibur starting with 5 has meter, Tekken sorta has meter in a way, at least like supers and all that. And thus, here we are with DOA 6, we got meter, we can work with it. So if you use a full bar, you get the break blow, which is basically a super. And if you use half a bar, you get the break hold, which is kind of like a super counter. So the supers by themselves, if you do them raw, they don't do much damage, really. They do much less than a regular combo. The one thing I noticed about supers is they seem to be sabakis. Now, if you're not familiar with the term, just think of it as an offensive move with a defensive twist, as they are keyed to basically eat certain moves. I'm not sure when the frames start on it or anything, but basically, there's been more than a few times where if I know dude's going to go for a mid kick, I can time my super and I'll eat his mid kick and get my super off. On top of that, supers, now I'm not sure the command to do this. There is no training mode, there's nothing in this beta to learn how to play other than just going in. That's why I had some trouble playing myself. But if you hold it, maybe, you can just get the initial hit and then recombo from there. So you can get a full combo, do your super, hold it, it'll restand them, and you can get a secondary combo, getting a lot of damage. So the super in that way definitely has a lot of value, and it's definitely very strong. Now the break hold. So the break hold, you spend half your bar, and you get basically a low or no damage counter, but it'll get high, mid, and low. So if you were in a very bad defensive way, you can basically burn part of your bar and get out. So it's very strong. Now the one thing I do want to say is I'm pretty okay with both these things being very strong. The one thing though is bar builds too fast in this game. Basically in every round you'll get a full bar. I have nothing against these techniques being incredibly strong, because the break hold especially is very strong, especially for how Dead or Alive works. but you shouldn't be able to do it all the time, in my opinion. The bar should build at like half the rate it currently does or less, in my opinion, to make these moves a lot more special, because they are very round-changing moves. I like them a lot, but I just don't think they should be as prevalent as they currently are. Now, for the online play, I gotta say, so far I find it serviceable. Maybe not great, but serviceable. And once again, this is a test, and they said they are delaying the game for like kind of under the hood improvements, so I hope they work well with it. But the one thing I gotta say, so this game delineates between Wi-Fi users and wired users, and that is my favorite thing in the world. Against wired users, all my games were great. I had no problem. The worst I could say is like against like a 2-bar wired, like it felt a little laggy, whatever, right? But the fact that it delineates between wireless and wired users, it tells me a lot, because like I've had matches against 5-bar Wi-Fi opponents, and it basically felt unplayable. Yeah, a lot of Wi-Fi players, dude. A lot of people just play on Wi-Fi. Like, it's a shame, but that's just how it is. Like, yeah. See how this is choking here? And this is the 5-bar Wi-Fi connection. That's the true insidiousness of Wi-Fi. Is they'll say it's a good connection, and then this shit starts happening. It's packet loss. That's what makes Wi-Fi so bad. So, as you saw in the clip, like a 5-bar match, but it was a Wi-Fi user and thus kind of unplayable. Not to say every 5-bar Wi-Fi match was unplayable, but yeah, thankfully, because the game will let me delineate between wired users and Wi-Fi users, I will definitely be skipping the vast majority of Wi-Fi players when launch happens. Now, onto some of the more just technical things, like gameplay-wise here. So I've been told the ground game's a bit different now. There doesn't seem to be a way to force people to wake up against their will like there used to be, like in Dead or Alive 5. Now, I wasn't really able to explore this as much, because once again, there's no characters I play in this beta, so I just didn't really know what to do. Like, I played Ayane for like 2 weeks back in like the 360 launch of Dead or Alive 4, so you know, that's why I played her. But yeah, so but I have been told, you know, you can't force people off the ground anymore, and if true, I find that a little bit disappointing. Certainly not the end of the world, but I guess I'll have to wait for launch to be able to explore that a bit more, because I just really wasn't able to suss that out in the beta. Now, also that said, so in Dead or Alive 6, it does not seem you're able to shake out of stuns anymore. So in previous Dead or Alives, you can basically just like hold guard, mash the button, and you would get out of stun faster than normal. And it was a pretty big part of the game, like as far as like, because Dead or Alive is very much about a game about getting into people's heads and like, you know, making educated guesses and all that kind of stuff. And it was just one more layer of it. And that does not seem to be present anymore. Now, I don't really know if that's a good or bad thing, but all I can really just say at the moment is it's different. So we'll see, I guess, in the end. But yeah, right now it just doesn't seem to work the way it did in previous Dead or Alive games. Now, another thing I do want to mention, because I kind of want to recant on something I said a long time ago when I saw the early trailers, and that's on Diego. So Diego, one of the new characters in the game, when he came out, honestly, I was one of the first people to say this. I'm like, oh, he's a low-rent Miguel from Tekken, right? And even though I still don't necessarily care for his look, his aesthetics, because I think his haircut's dumb as hell, I gotta say his moveset won me over. His moveset's super impactful, super visually satisfying. His style of fighting is like Street Fighter, like he's just a brawler. He has no trained martial art, right? And in that, just being like, you know, a back alley fighter, he kind of impressed me. He kind of won me over, I gotta say. If there's like an option to like change his haircut or something, then I'll be all for it and then start playing on myself. But yeah, his moveset looked really, really good. Just a lot of very vicious knees, vicious elbows, vicious headbutts. Dead or Alive, when it comes to other 3D fighters, to me anyways, the animation's always been a step above, and he really is just a very vicious character, moveset wise, and I gotta say, he won me over. Now, with all that said, I know some people had some technical issues. I've seen more than enough videos of people's games freezing, crashing, and the like, and I gotta say, honestly, it never happened to me. Obviously, it happened to quite a few people, but I played roughly about 100-ish games, all in told, and never happened to me, so I guess good for me, but although obviously incredibly unfortunate for the people it happened to. All I can say is I gotta assume they know, like the demo has all sorts of warnings like, hey, this stuff might break. They even have like the please understand in it, so I guess they knew this could happen to some people. But yeah, That's very unfortunate. But all in all, I gotta say, my time with the demo, network test, open beta, whatever you want to call it, I gotta say, overall, thumbs up. Had some laggy matches, sure, but they're all on the back of Wi-Fi players, and I gotta say, I'm over the moon that this game lets you delineate between who's wired and who's Wi-Fi. Because if I see a Wi-Fi connection, I don't like it. Hey, it's see you later, and I'll just keep matching until I get someone who's on a wired connection. So, gotta say, pretty happy with that. If you're listening to this and you are on Wi-Fi and you like fighting games, please make a concerted effort to change your ways, get a Cat 5 cable. If somehow that's not possible, please get a power line adapter or something. Wi-Fi is the absolute worst way you can play a fighting game online. But yeah, I like the system for the supers. I think they're very strong on both ends of the super move itself and the super counter move. Although I really think bar should not build anywhere near as fast as it does, concerning the relative power of both these moves. But other than that, I gotta say, had fun with the network test, and right now I am very much looking forward to the launch of Dead or Alive 6, especially because I get to finally play the characters I actually know how to play. But all in all, gotta say, hey, thumbs up. Anyways, that's it for my impression, so I thank you very much for watching. I hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Dead or Alive.